All right. All right, guys. Thank you so much for taking your time out and getting on this call with us tonight. It is our usual Tuesday night call with me and Mikey from Trade House. So a couple of you on tonight's call have never been on one of our calls before. We used to do them a lot back in 2018, back in the day, and they were fire. So we've decided to bring them back just because, Trade House, everything they stand for and everything they do is just the tits. So tonight's call, we're still honing home on the subject of money mindset. We're also going to be tapping into so the basic, the subject of tonight's call was money mindset, why people are not achieving their goals. And then we're going to go over some trading stuff as well. We're going to open up for a Q&A. So if you have any trading questions, I've got my girl Jenna on here as well. So she's going to chime in at the end there and drop some of her usual nuggets as well. So if you haven't been on one of her calls before, you will be acquainted with Jenna. But all right, so I want you guys to be really interactive in this chat. Grab a notepad, grab some paper. Mikey, you there? You can hear me all good? Where's the boy? There he is. Unmute. Mikey, you there?
There we go. I couldn't unmute myself. There we go. What's up? What's up, everyone?
So good to see you. So good to see you. All right. So yeah, we're just gonna bounce off each other here. So anything that you want to chime into, Mike, please just drop on in.
Okay.
You know how we usually do things. So
Yep.
I've got a couple of things I want to talk about. We had a lot of really good feedback from last week's call in terms of breakthroughs. So that recording is available if you do want that as well. But yeah, guys, let's go ahead and get started, and let's talk about money mindset, because in trading, in building a business, as you guys all know, anything is really, just admitting all these people, anything is possible within this space. All right. And where do we even start? Okay. So
I'm sorry, real quick as well. If you guys have any follow-up from last week as well, you can go into the chat with that. I was just going to say that as well. Just if there is any follow-up or whatever comments, questions from that, we're that as well. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good. Just admitting this last couple in. All right. So now, something that we always talk about is our mindset. Trading is a lot of, primarily psychology based as well. And here at Trade House, we are obviously, extremely trading focused over anything else pretty much. But, as much as anything is possible, we really want to dive into our own money stories. And, why a lot of the times people, they come into this, they want to hit all these big goals, they want to hit chairman, they maybe want to, get funded with the FTMO challenge, all this stuff. But if they don't have their money mindset right, you're really going to make no money. Okay, so this is just falling back on last week's call that I'm going to roll on through. So guys, it doesn't matter where you guys are at financially right now, okay, because the reason that you're on this call, the reason that you guys are learning to trade is obviously because you guys want to change that. All right, so I don't want you guys comparing your journey with anyone else's. There's people on this call, like I just had a quick look of all the names. You guys are literally of all income levels, and we all want to still be doing better. Okay, so maybe you guys make really good money. Maybe you guys, just getting by. Maybe you guys have just started. Maybe you guys haven't even started yet, and you're just on here to even check this out. Maybe you're scared to invest in trading and education simply because, you're fearful that you might not even make any money. Okay, guys, trading, we all know it is not a get rich quick thing. It is about learning, it's about applying, it's about using, like, literally rinse and repeat. Okay, you guys all know that. It's not rocket science. It's about showing up and being consistent and practicing, and just really implementing what you're learning from our educators. Okay, so when it comes to money mindset is so key, and we are all about, like Mike's call yesterday, like rabbit hole sesh, head on down. This is what he's known for, so this is what he's about. So before we get into like money mindset stuff, sometimes we've got to do a massive brain dump. Okay, so we've got to unlearn to relearn. We've got to get rid of all of these, bullshit stories that we tell ourselves. Okay, so who's had in the chat, when you guys are right, who's had people tell them, money's not important? Okay, pretty sure we all have, but you know what? It's fucking like oxygen. Okay, we need it. Who's heard, money is the root of all evil? These are stories that have been drilled into our subconscious. Okay, money is not evil. Money is so good. All right. And if you guys have been stuck at the same income level, you have a problem with the way you think about money. Okay, maybe this is rank wise, trading wise, maybe you just can't gain that traction and start making profits, things like that. You've got a problem with how you think about money. Okay, so I want you guys to really think big about what your stories are about money, what your mental blocks are that you have with money. You know, what were your money stories growing up? What did you hear thinking about money? What did your parents tell you thinking about money? How were you taught on how to make money? Okay, guys, I want you guys to write in the chat for me what money is to you. Okay, what is money? Rattle off some ideas to me. Because for me, it's choices. Okay, money gives you choices, and the more choices, the more money that you have, the more choices that you have. Okay, so money only amplifies who you truly are. So if you have a lot of money and you do dumb shit with your money, that's not a money problem. That is a you problem. Okay. Your money mindset is something that, you know, each new level that you're going to get to, you're going to have to develop yourself even further. And to be honest with you, like those people that have said to me, you know, money isn't everything, like trading, money, you're so money focused. That's literally been from people who have never had any significant amount of money. Okay, so money gives you choices. Money can provide freedom. Absolutely. So think about your money story. Think about what choices it can do for you. Okay, what is your intentions when it comes to money? What is it going to enable you to do in your life? How will having more money make your life easier? I'm not talking about materialistic things. You know, having materialistic objects isn't going to magically, you know, make you more confident and deep down on a cellular level, right? That's not going to fix you. Okay, it might boost your ego and make you feel cool, but that's about it. You know, what have you been lied to about money? You know, you're not going to fucking save your way to, sorry, I swear. You're not going to save your way to being rich, right?
Mm.
At all. So Mikey, touch on a little bit on what money is for you, what money mindset is for you, and help. You know, we've got 71 people on here, and yeah, I want you to share with them your wisdom on what money means for you.
You know, before I address it to me personally, I think that there's a stigma around it. I mean, I wonder if you guys can resonate with it as well. If you make a lot of money, you're one of them. Does that make sense? That you're kind of ostracized away from the pack, so to speak, and that if you're not being a philanthropist or, you know, doing everything that or, you know, just giving it all away or whatever, that you were somehow bad now. And so I think that's really what it comes down to, at least for objectively from society, is that money has always kind of, you know, it's kind of it's kind of a connuption, or yeah, connuption, because everybody wants to make a lot of money, but when you do have a lot of money, you are now viewed as different and somebody who cannot relate, somebody who cannot understand the problems and things that other people have experienced and stuff like that, regardless of what, of course, you have personally gone through is irrelevant. Now you are, again, different. And that is, I think, a really inherent issue with when it comes to it. For me, there was a point in my life where I was so disgusted with the monetary system and that I gave up on money completely. And I mean, I was still working and things like that, but you know, in this world, there's a game that's being played, and if you want anything out of life, you have to play that game, and there's no way around it. Right, at least right now, like, well, not even just right now, but you know, for longer than any of us here have been alive, this is the game that has to be played. And of course, you know, coming from that place of where we pretty much all come from, of salaries or hourly pay and linear income, trading time for money, it is so, you know, it's so manuscripted inside of people's minds that the idea of stepping out of that is somehow, again, foreign or taboo. And so this is where we create a lot of natural internal contradictions for what it is that we do here. With the beliefs around money for me, the easiest little way to explain it here to me was that the same thing you do to make $5 is the same thing you do to make $50 here, and 500 and 5,000 and so on and so on. The exact same action. That simple, again, very core fundamental belief to me shifted my beliefs on money 100%, because then it became so much more about, that quote from Bruce Lee, practicing the same thing 10,000 times versus 10,000 different things one time. And that's what, so many of us are used to, is that 10,000 different things to make a bunch of income, or at least ideally, and attempting to, as opposed to here, where again, the same thing you do to make $5 is the same thing you do to make a bigger amount of money as well. I think the only thing, legally speaking, that can do that is gambling. I mean, other than gambling at a casino, I can't think of anywhere else where this is possible. So the point as to why I'm saying that is that if you are not a, I don't know, world class poker player or something like that, then by definition, all of us do not have these beliefs in the context that they need to be in order for us to see this into fruition, because of our lack of understanding of what is possible here. And so as we traverse through this, one thing that you need to understand is that if you think $10,000 a month, a week, a day is impossible, or it's a dream, then that's all it's ever going to be, because you're not going to turn it into physical reality in this sense, because you do not do what you consider to be impossible. We all do what we consider to be possible. And when we start to shift those beliefs, I know a lot of it can come through like maybe physical demonstration of, oh, well, look at this person that I know that, is making whatever amount of money. So now, therefore, it is in my physical reality. So therefore, now I can do it, as opposed to like, watching, a billionaire or something on TV or something. It's not really relatable in that sense. And so, I don't know if Australia had it, but do y'all have that show out there, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Do y'all
Yeah.
know what it is?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sure there's probably an Australian version as well, but the psychology behind that show is really detrimental, because what it did for me, because I used to watch that show like when it was first released, when I was a kid and stuff, and it really conceptualizes the point that this is the only way you're going to become a millionaire, is by getting onto that game show and answering all of the questions correct to make $1 million, because of the framework of the name of it. Who Wants to Be a Millionaire is only done, and only, it only happens through that way. And subconsciously, I know that that created that belief in me. And so it also ends up what it also ended up doing was not pushing me to find another source. Of course, I'm not saying that there isn't a million ways to make $1 million. Of course there is, but psychologically speaking, this is what I'm talking about, to where that's what the show does. And that's why the show was even created, was for that kind of psychological um, thing that it does to people. So beliefs around money to me is energy. Money is energy. What you're able to do with it, the abundance of it, the lack of it, energy. And what you have put into everything else. Money is the lowest form of energy, but nonetheless it is energy, and you are compensated or not compensated based off of everything that you're doing. So money is a wonderful way to be able to gauge what value you put into the world around you, and you are compensated through that way. This is the way that I view it, because with what I've been able to do, um being able to give, because I always give with the money and thing, with having the ability to be able to give money away, is also, it's, of course, it's very, very important for me to be able to do that. But beyond that, there is a much higher thing going on with the idea of philanthropy, or the idea of giving to get. And money is what we would refer to as the law of compensation, giving us back to that, because just like what SJ said, it's just as high as oxygen, or it's up there with oxygen, because that's like you saying that you want to play the game of Monopoly that all of us are playing, but you're not going to play with any money. So how do you, genuinely, how do you expect to win the game of Monopoly if you're not playing with any, with any money versus everybody else who is playing with money? It's just not feasible. So I just wanted to, I guess, emphasize the stigma of making a lot of money, that you should somehow feel bad because you have so much, and that you can just think about so many that don't have anything, and that therefore there's this massive imbalance, and now you should feel guilty in the sense of, look at you and what you're not doing, kind of thing. That was a big deal for me personally, was overcoming that objection about money, and obviously shifting my belief towards, no, money and the abundance of money is my ability to be able to help people that I come into contact with, not there's this massive imbalance and then therefore, I'm different. So money is energy to me.
For sure. So yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. So guys, for us to shift money mindsets in our stories and beliefs and like that, we really need to understand that, we are in the exact point in our life right now based upon every single decision that we have made in the past, right? So are you guys happy with where you're at? Because, something that I am good at doing it myself is telling myself the cold hard truth about situations. And for me, accountability is massive. Like anyone that comes into this business because of me, I am literally asking them, how can I hold you accountable for this? Because I know how badly you want this, right? So when you understand that no one is responsible for where you are at except you, now obviously I'm not going to spend this time on this call, smacking you in the butt and telling you you've been naughty for all these years because you're not where you want to be. Like, that's not the point. I am going to tell you though that for our lives to change, for your life to change, we need to take accountability for our actions. Okay. It's not our parents' fault. It's not our spouses. It's not the economy's fault. It's no one's fault that you are not in a good position right now. It's your own. Okay. So we are in the age of information and you can earn a hell of a lot. Okay. And it's on you. So I understand that, you don't know what you don't know. I get that. But if you want to change your life, if you want to take, your financial future to the next level, if you want to set your family up, if you want to go and do whatever it is you want to do, you've got to own all of your shit. Okay. You can't be a victim, right? Society teaches us to stay in the system, that's not you. If you're on this call, that's not you. If that's why you're learning to trade, that's not you. Okay. Because you realize that learning to trade and building a business for a couple of years is far better than working a job 40 plus years that you don't really like just for a paycheck. Okay. You are doing this because you know that you deserve better. All right. So you can't be a victim in life because it's not going to pay you. All right. So you guys got to rewrite your stories, write this question out, answer it later. You don't have to do it right now. But what's been one of the biggest things that's been in your way? Okay. Because I bet you any money, it's procrastination. Okay. You keep putting things off. You keep waiting for when the time is right. You keep waiting to get started when you have more money. Okay. You keep waiting for next payday. You keep bullshitting yourself. You just got to quit lying to yourself. Okay. Because procrastination, it's a liar's game and it is killing your hopes and dreams. It is killing any potential of any freedom. Okay. And if you guys think that you can wait on the sidelines and keep, messing around and just going to attract money in your life by, doing good things and reading out your affirmations, guys, like the gods and the universe, they've got absolutely nothing to do with banking. Okay. Nothing at all. You've got to put the work in for this. And so many people, they talk a really big game and nothing ever happens. Okay. People set these goals and they never achieve them. And there's so many layers to that. But what you guys have to do tonight, guys, is you guys just have to make a decision. Okay. You guys have to make a decision. Are you ready to commit to your goals? Okay. Because a lot of the time people would rather come up with an excuse than a solution to shift something in their life and think, okay, how can I actually do this right now? All right. Because you guys got to make the investment. This isn't just about money. Money is one thing, time is the other. And everyone
I want to add one thing to that too.
Yeah, go.
The only don't just think it's not that it's just procrastination, because it is, but what fuels it is distractions. Yeah. Your exits away from this: social media, dopamine injections, movies, games. See, one other thing to capitulate with our just, "Oh, I'll do it later" kind of thing is you watching TV, for example. When you're not doing anything, you're not getting anything done, right? So on top of everything that SJ just said, which is absolutely correct, compound that with all of the numbness that society can offer and to keep you distracted away from your physical world, because those are absolutely important, which also might be another issue that anybody could be facing is, yeah, you say you could be working on social media, but if you're just sitting there scrolling, you're not getting anything done. Nothing at all. It's like you watching television. In fact, not even probably watching television. It's like watching commercials. It's nothing. So I'm sorry. I just wanted to add that as well.
No. That's, yeah, I was literally just about to say that, yeah, money, it's not about just time and money. Money's one thing. Everyone has got time. Not everyone has money, but you've got to be smart about where you're putting your time. Exactly what Mike just said, social media, Netflix, TV, all these, time wasting broke activities. And I don't get me wrong, I know we've got to like chill out and rest and whatever else, but you don't have to be chilling so much if you are not where you want to be. Okay. Now I'm just reading here that there's like time, London, New York, and I'm at work, the time zone for when I go to trade in, there's actually ways around that. There is, like, don't let that be an excuse for you. Like, your time and your money, if that's a problem for you, your time, I'm trying to word this right, your time and your money is directly proportionate to how much time and money you have. Does that make sense, Mike?
Yeah.
Time and money, because like when I first started this, guys, in 2016 with this platform, I couldn't afford it. Okay, I was making $600 a week. My rent was 580. Okay, I was working 60 hours a week, but my mindset was, I am going to spend whatever I have to spend, money and time wise, to get myself to where I want to be. Guys, you've got to believe that you can do this. Okay, we've all got our doubts, we've all got our letdowns, but you guys really just have to step up and step into the person that you have to be to achieve these goals. Okay, you've got to have that conviction and you've got to have that belief that you can do this. Okay, you got to go from I want to do it to I can do it to I believe I'll do it to I will do it to I am doing it. Okay, when someone says to me that they don't have time for this, I literally say to them every single time, man, how does it feel not having the time for something that could literally give you the time? Okay, when someone says to me, man, I don't have 230 US to start this, I tell them that is the least of their problems, because not having that is going to cause them so much more. Okay, how does it feel to not have the money to pay for financial education that can literally change your life? I am literally giving you a solution, but once again, people would rather find excuses. All you guys have to do is make that decision to A, ascend and become bigger and better than excuses, or B, do nothing and stay exactly the same. That's really all you've got to do.
Period.
So one of the biggest mindsets that you've got to shift is, if you want to increase your income, hit your goals, you need accountability. Okay, you need to take responsibility for yourself, for your actions. Successful people never blame anyone else for their lack of success. Okay, they know it's on them. How many times have you guys started something, started a diet, started whatever, and then quit? Okay, I've done it a million fucking times. Accountability is key, right? So guys, I want you to grab a pen and paper. I've got some real stuff to do, and then we're gonna like move on to the next bit. So I want you guys at any, like in the next 24 hours, or even just now, write down your income 5 years ago. Okay, you don't have to go and get out bank statements or anything like that. Just estimate it. Okay, what was your income 5 years ago? What was it 3 years ago? What was it a year ago? Okay, now look at it right now. How does that feel? Even thinking about, if you know what it is, but how does that feel looking at it? Because I know when I did this a couple of years ago, I felt freaking shit. Okay, it was such a reality shock. Like when you look at these numbers, when you do this exercise, think to yourself, are you proud of that? Maybe you're actually in a way better situation, because I'm in a way better situation now. But could you be doing better? Because the mentality of the wealthy is, yeah, that's good, but I know I can do better. Okay, so you guys got to look at your patterns. Are you growing or are you stuck? Because your finances are a pure indication of you knowing new things and you doing new things. All right, so do you have anything to add there, Mike?
Yeah, yeah, and you know, looking at uh, the progression is something that seems daunting, but I love that SJ brought it up in such a way to where it becomes obvious. And this is another thing that kind of adds to the distraction. It's almost as if you don't even know the problem is going on, if that makes sense. Like there's a sense of comfortability of ignorance when it comes to, oh yeah, I was kind of making maybe this much or that much, but when you put it down physically and then you're looking at it, it becomes something different, because then you're like, it's there, it's visual now, and it's in physical reality. You've written it down, it's on a piece of paper that you're staring at. And when you do that, it's different than thinking about it. I think maybe somebody can answer this in the chat. How many thoughts does the brain have a day? It's like hundreds of thousands, right? It's an unbelievable amount. And I think, like, some of it's about food, some of it's about sex, some of it's about like energy, some of it's about dopamine, like what makes you happy, and this and that. Like there's like I don't remember the exact numbers of how many general thoughts people have towards particular topics, but that's the smoke screen, I guess, in your conscious mind, that your subconscious mind is obviously on the other side of the smoke screen through. And so when you push it all into reality, just like what SJ said, it becomes something different than just a thought, because while you're thinking of your last 5 years of income, you could also be thinking about what you had for dinner tonight. And while as you're doing that, it almost is again the distraction to keep you away from the truth. Like, oh yeah, that okay, I made X amount of money last year. Yeah, that steak was really good. Like, wow, I just got like a little taste in my mouth, and then you could just start translucing away from what you were actually doing. Does that make sense? To where you're no longer actually addressing the problem, as opposed to, again, writing it down physically to where it becomes something. And I think that is a very, very, I like that exercise a lot. I mean, there's a reason why uh, writing things down, becoming physical with it, and again, pushing it into this reality is extremely important, like vision boards. And it's just called kinesthetic learning. Like even your handwriting, like you writing the physical numbers out themselves, is a whole thing. Like how your brain has to communicate with your hand on to write these numbers. And it's a completely different experience than you just sitting here thinking about it, because again, you have so many thoughts that are going through your brain nonstop. Like even right now, somebody in here could be thinking of something that happened 10 years ago that has nothing relevant to do with what's going on right now, but they had a conversation about this maybe earlier today, and it's still in their mind and it's circulating around. So discipline is just another part of this as well, of you pushing into the better version of yourself, and understanding one of the biggest discrepancies is discipline. I mean, if it, I guess it's coming back to the original point that SJ made as well, procrastination. Well, procrastination is the opposite of discipline, because if you were disciplined, then procrastination shouldn't be an issue. Discipline, quite simply, in the easiest way, is just doing things you don't want to do at that very moment and doing them. Like, oh, of course you don't want to get up and go to the gym and work out, but you got to do it, obviously, if you're trying to get to the results that you want, because this is what always gets me on that specific thing. How many people say, man, I don't feel like going to the gym right now, and then succumb to that, versus how many, okay, no, I got to go, and get up and get in their car or whatever and go. The majority of people will sit there and say, nah, my back hurts, so I'm not going to go. It's that 5-second rule in your brain. You have 5 seconds to respond to something. And when you write something down like that, it again pushing this all into your physical reality is something that is extremely, extremely important to developing that discipline, developing the intention of like, I'm curious, how many people in here right now use an alarm clock, but have on your iPhone or whatever, you have, let's say you need to be up at 9. So you have 7:45, 8, 8:15, 8:30, 8:45, you know, all the way down. How many people do that? And then how many people in here have one alarm or even none? Because you don't need an alarm to wake your body up, by the way. The alarm is the problem, but that's a different conversation completely. The point I'm only making about it right now is exactly that. You do not need multiple alarms to make sure that you get up. It is the procrastination. No, I'll wake up and then I'll get 10 more minutes of sleep. And then I'll wake up and then I'll get 5 more minutes of sleep. That entire ideology is the problem. In fact, it is literally the problem. And that is what needs to be shifted. It's either you're going to get up out of bed or you're going to go back to sleep. Period. There is no, no, especially when you have been done sleeping. You're either going to get up out of bed or you're going to roll over and close your eyes again. And the discipline from that is obviously, this is the thing about it. You've convinced yourself that it's okay to roll over and fall back asleep because you know that 17 more alarms are going to go off. That is the problem, because there's no discipline there. That's just you dragging your feet through the sand, so to speak, and take that and then compound it into business, compound it into trading, push it in, again, transcend that ideology that human beings all of us as human beings have, apply it to business. And we do the same thing. We do the same thing in trading. We do the same thing like everywhere. It's just this simple 5-second rule behavior that's got to be, you're either going to do this or you're going to do this. That's I don't know, it's a responsibility thing for me. And again, are you going to go to the gym or not? You got you maybe even less than 5 seconds. You probably have 3 seconds to make that decision. Because if you don't make that decision in 3 seconds and get up and start packing your bag and get up and get the water bottle and change your clothes and do all of that, then you're not going to do it. You're not going to do it in 30 minutes when you've convinced yourself, oh yeah, here, let me do this real quick and then I'll do it in 30 minutes. No, you won't. Like, be honest with yourself. How many times have you all done that? You know what I'm talking about. You know exactly what's going on.
100%. That's me all through COVID. Just go to the garage. I'm not going. Okay, so guys, if you're not where you want to be, okay, you've got to draw a line in the sand. Okay, you've got to make a decision that enough is enough. Okay, you've got to be thinking, what do I have to do to change this? You've got to be willing to, take the risks and not blame anyone except you for where you're at. All right, take responsibilities, feel into your consequences. Okay, your decisions and your thinking has got you to right where you are. And that awareness of responsibility is really, really, really powerful. Okay, guys, for those of you who don't know this, my story with this whole company, back in 2015, I had a subcontracting business fail. Okay, I had disconnection notices legit on every bill. If it wasn't disconnection notices, it was extensions. My power got cut off. I know what it's like to have nothing. Okay, I know what it's like to feed your dogs good food and you eat cereal because you can't afford food. Okay, your ego is going to kill you. It is okay to struggle. Okay, because I bet every single one of you on this call has struggled. But it is not okay to not take responsibility. Okay, it is not okay to stay struggling. And back then, I was backed into a corner. Okay, and the only way out for me was forward. Right? So you guys have to make a decision. I made one back in 2015 that I was worth more than this struggle. I then decided that it's just a matter of knowing that you're worth more. Okay. And then when I found this platform, when I found Mike in 2016, everything freaking changed for me. Okay. So you guys have to have your moment. There may be one or maybe a few defining moments, but there will be the one. Okay. Is having the same income week to week actually serving you? Okay. Is feeling shit about yourself serving you? Is thinking negatively serving you? Okay. What will it take you for you to change? Okay. Because the tough slog is the change in behaviors, because what underlies behaviors is habit, and habit is rooted in belief. Okay. So I ask you guys, do you guys believe that you are also worthy of an incredible life? That do you guys actually believe that you are worthy of making massive amounts of money? Do you guys believe that you are worthy of more than struggling if you are right now. Do
That's
you
not a cliche either, guys. That's like, it sounds so personal develop me to say that. Are you
know?
worthy?
Oh,
It's Get rid of that. It's a literal question. Do you literally feel that you deserve it or not? Because if you don't,
you never will.
it's not going to happen.
You never will. And that comes back to the stories we tell ourselves, okay? What I've seen, there was, what's that quote, Mike? And it says, is the pain of staying the same worse than something or other? Do you know what I'm trying to say? Think
Yeah.
the pain of staying the same or the pain of change, something along those lines, okay? I believe that to an extent, but what I believe is a better working model for creating change is, the probability of change increases when we match a profound dissatisfaction towards the status quo with obviously that clear vision of the future, then combined with, small incremental steps that gives us, a sense of hope and a sense of momentum, I guess. So we have to be profoundly unhappy with where we are in this change journey. Okay. Nobody has to tell, nobody, it doesn't matter who's going to tell you, nobody telling us we need to change. We have to change ourselves. Okay. No making excuses to put up with it. Maybe I could do better. It's got to be that, that knot in your gut, that burning desire that I can't stay where I am, quite restlessness. That's what you've got to feel. Anything less than that, you will always find that safe harbor waiting for you when the change gets hard. You're going to revert back to how you've always been. Okay. Now, there's this part in I can't say this word properly, amygdala. And it's a part of our brain that keeps us safe and it keeps us playing small. And it's the part of our brain that tells us those stories. Okay. The amygdala is recognized as a part of the limbic system, and it's important. It plays roles in basically producing like emotions and behaviors. Okay. It processes fear. Okay. So this part of our brain is not our friend. It literally hijacks us. It hijacks our thinking and it keeps us playing safe. So we need a clear vision of the future. And having that is key to moving on from where we need to be to where we want to be to actually create that change. Okay. So does that make sense, Mike? Do you have anything to say to that?
Yeah, and the one thing that I did want to add was that story of the dog that was sitting on a nail, and it was like his owner was sitting on the patio, and there was a guy that walked by and says, "Hey, your dog's sitting on the nail," and he said, "Clearly, it's not hurting him enough to change it, so he's not going. If he wants to change it, he'll do something about it." This is my problem with the motivational world, and why I usually have a problem with motivational speakers is
Mm-hmm.
that no one needs motivation. What you need is clarity of understanding that if you can recognize the problem, the human being naturally will react and then generate the solution. That's how we are. The moment that a problem has been transcribed and that we recognize that it's there, it's not that you lack motivation to fix the problem. It's because the problem is riddled with weird excuses or circumstances, or things that are going on around it that makes it seem like it's out of your control. And that's obviously not the case, because if it hurts bad enough, there isn't an excuse. If you want something bad enough, you will do it. You do not lack motivation, you lack clarity on the situation. Motivation is not the problem. And that's usually my issue with what it is that what we need to be able to do is, as personal, being personal with ourselves, when we're recognizing and thinking about the situations and the things that we're going through, is not how do I become, more hungry for success. In my opinion, if first of all, if you're not hungry enough for it, then you're not hungry enough for it, and then you're going to fall back into mediocrity. The people that we speak to in this company, the people that are here, aren't those people, because this isn't easy. Yeah, you did have to pay a price to be here. You have to sacrifice things to be like on this call, for example. So I know that I'm not speaking to people that are like, like that. Maybe to some degree, maybe there's somebody in here that is, kind of still wrestling with it, but nonetheless, here we all are doing untraditional things and doing things and expecting a different result. That is, at least by definition, we're not walking the path that we were, taught to do. So I know that everyone here is already, generally speaking, on that path. Now it's about untangling the mess that you have tangled up and then generating exactly what needs to be done, which is clearing out all of these problems. Every situation, I don't care how much money you're making or not making right now. SJ would be a wonderful example. I've known SJ for quite a bit now, and I've seen her make a lot of money. I've seen her lose all of it. I've seen her pick it back up. I've seen her pick it back down. Same thing with me. Nothing is permanent. Everything is a phase. So the moment that you truly beyond expectation accept that it's just phases, no matter what, that you can move and traverse through whatever it is that you're going through so much faster, because then you stop getting stuck on, why is this happening to me? If you are sitting there asking yourself, why am I in this situation? That is the problem, because we, not you, as I'm not speaking to any one person in here, we refuse to acknowledge why we're even in the situation in the first place. When we're sitting there, why? It's like a child, like, God, like that's literally what the epitome of it is. And refusing, literally refusing to acknowledge why we're in this situation. That is the untangling process of why, victim mentality. No one is successful as a victim. Victim mentality is like, in fact, the Achilles heel to everything, is that I'm not successful because of all of these other things. I talk about this all of the time because it's so easy to pass that buck. It's so easy to hand it off. So, claiming responsibility, changing your beliefs, all comes from first recognizing why you're even in the situation you are in the first place, which is neuroplasticity needs to occur. Changing your See, everything that SJ was just talking about, everybody here knows what neuroplasticity is, right? And if you don't, you can go into the chat and let me know, but you have to be committing to that. That's how you change your life, guys. They say it's 21 days to break a habit and to replace it with another one. That is true. It is the hardest 20 days of your life when you are doing something that you have been doing for a very, very long time, then stopping doing it. But the thing is what becomes easier about that 5-second rule that I'm talking about, or about your habitual patterns, or about the things, is that the more you do those things, it becomes easier. See, it's initially the hardest thing to do, but then it just becomes easier and easier to do. And when you do it, and here's the little thing about it, start with little things. Change little behaviors. Don't try to change the biggest problems or the biggest things that you hold on to, because that's a daunting task. Change little things. Develop your ability to shift and try, something new, and to commit to it. Something that, again, doesn't massively change everything. It is, little things. And then little things start to add up to big things, which then, of course, just like what SJ said, your attitudes, your habits, are automatically the outcome of the beliefs that you carry, and your beliefs create your reality. You cannot go against your beliefs. Whatever you believe to be possible is the line, the little box of, the box in the sand that you've put yourself into, and nothing will happen beyond that until that is, of course, addressed and pushed. That's how all of us are. Every single human being is that way. So just what I wanted to add to that.
100%. And that comes back to creating that clear vision for yourself. And then the next step is obviously the small steps, literally what Mike was just saying. So small steps is all that is needed to move forward. Okay, too often I feel that we set out and we decide to take on this massive, huge adventure, or something new to create big change, and we just get nothing but overwhelmed. Okay, Jenna is a prime example for that. Like back when she first started, she'd ring me and Christian, like tears, about to quit. She went breakdowns, breakthroughs, like she went through it all, and now look at her. Okay, we are impatient. Okay, we want instant results, we want instant gratification, we want everything really quickly, and it all seems really beneath our capability early on. Okay, we want all this stuff, but we're not ready for it yet. We're not capable of doing it. And it's worth reminding ourselves that we did not get capable in a day. Okay, so nor can we accept to make new habits and, take, habits to just even grab hold and hold over weight. Okay, things do not change, we change. That's the difference there. And once we identify the problem, we are literally one step closer to the solution. So I've just got a last couple of questions. I'm going to write these questions in the chat so you can then write them down, and we're going to move into some charting stuff super quick. I know Jess has some questions about some entries and things like that. So we're going to go over a bit of chart work. And then, but guys, I want to ask you guys, I'm just going to rattle them off quickly and I'm going to put them in the chat. For you guys to make a plan of attack, for you to like take what where you are to move forward, I want you guys to ask yourself a couple of questions. So in the next 12 months, how much money are you going to make if you change nothing? All right. And I want you to ask yourself, how much can I make if I commit 100%? All right. I want you guys to write down goal incomes of 3 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. Okay. And when it comes to setting these goals and actually hitting them, you've got to get really real with yourself, and you've got to ask yourself, what has stopped me in the past from hitting my goals, right? Let's do a big brain dump. You got to get all this shit out, okay? And you've got to ask yourself, how will hitting these goals actually change my life? How will my life be different? How am I willing, not how am I willing, but what am I willing to do to achieve them? How will my life be if I don't achieve them? If I don't make this work, if I don't make trading work for me, what is my life going to be like? You have to choose a path to hit your goals. And obviously the insanity path is doing the same thing you've always done and resulting in nothing, or the new way, and that's brain dumping all this shit, writing yourself new stories and committing 100%. Okay, so guys, it costs absolutely freaking nothing to dream. All right, as Jenna says, it costs, you don't have to be rich to listen. So think about these questions and get really real with where you're at and where you want to be. I know Jenna would like to add a couple of things in here, and then we're going to move on to some chart stuff. So stick around, guys. We've got some extra things coming up. But Jenna, feel free to unmute yourself.
Oh, hello.
Hi, Jenna.
I love you. I miss you.
I love you too. I miss you too.
Oh, guys, I don't think you understand. Like, Mike is a literal walking, like, angel human being. Like, he's just the most beautiful soul. We all know that. Any hoot. So I just wanted to, like, first of all, how about all of that brain food, everyone? Can, like, is that a yes in the chat? Is everyone's brain like, because I know mine is, brain food all day. So really quickly, I just wanted to touch on a few things and add a few things before, we can start answering some trading questions, right? Like Mike said, money is energy and everything is energy. So you get what you give. Like, I'm 100% believer in that, because, when you think about something all the time, when you buy a new car, you're always thinking about it. What do you see on the road? The same car. You know what I mean? So it's like, everything really is energy. And when you really accept that, you start to, for me, when I really accepted that everything is energy, especially money, and like just and accepted that fact, you begin to detach from it. You begin to detach from it, and you start seeing how everything, does come back to you. Like, it's one of those things you have to experience it, obviously, to really fully grasp it. But for me, I really noticed it when I surrendered to my, limiting beliefs that weren't serving me, to trusting that I'm giving so much. So like Mike always says, the universe will compensate me. And it's so true. So I just wanted to add on that, right? And your beliefs control your behavior, right? There's no ifs or buts about it. Your beliefs control your behavior. So if your behavior isn't reflecting success, it's because you don't believe in it. You don't believe in it for yourself. There's no other way around it.
Period. That's it.
Your beliefs control your behavior. So if your behaviors in everyday life aren't reflecting success or reflecting someone you aspire to be who has the success you want, it's because you don't believe in it. You don't believe in it for yourself, and you don't believe in yourself. So that's something that really, shook me as well. And what was an incident, like what we were just saying before about motivation. Motivation comes and goes. Motivation's great because it gets you going and things like that, but it comes and goes. It comes in waves, right? What's going to keep you going is discipline, like Mike always says, is consistency, is doing the things you don't want to do, is doing the things that you know the masses don't do to get to where the masses will never be. It's understanding that. And obviously changing your money story. There's really, really brilliant books with about manifesting and how to change your money story, and writing out your old money story and your old negative beliefs and things like that, and then rewriting a new money story and understanding that you lack nothing. You lack nothing. And when you accept that, and saying affirmations and things like that, whenever I spend money, it comes back to me multiplied, because it's energy. If you're hesitant to give, you're not going to get it back. You're not going to get it back. And it's all psychology, right? One of the best quotes that I recently came across, obviously we all know broke is a mindset, right? Broke is a mindset. Okay. That's something that you tell yourself every day. That it's a mindset, right? So I'm just going to finish on this note before we get into the chart stuff. The quote that I came across the other day that was just mind blowing, right? Is, I wish I could tell you it gets better, but it doesn't get better. You get better. And that to me is the bombshell, the mic drop of all mic drops, that quote, because you will always hear successful people that, more money, more problems, new levels, new devils, right? So for you, wishing for it to get better versus wishing for you to get better, that's the problem. Because everyone will tell you it doesn't get better, it doesn't get easier, you get better. So it's like that quote, like if you guys want it, I'll write it in the chat. I wish I could tell you it gets better, but it doesn't get better. You get better. So let that sink in. And obviously, my favorite quote, I Googled this, by the way, to make sure that it wasn't referenced from anywhere, that you don't have to be rich to listen. Like, it just came to me when I was talking to someone, because they were just like trying to back chat me with all the stuff. And I was like, look, you don't have to be rich to listen. Like, get on the call, do it, that was it. And then I came up with my quote and I was like, hey, this hasn't been used. But yeah, that quote is one of my favorites. I wish I could tell you it gets better, but it doesn't. It doesn't get better, you get better. Now, with that being said, moving on to trading stuff, I really want to touch on as well, since we're on the topic of psychology and personal development, is trading psychology. I really do believe people get it twisted. Personal development you need and is great, like you need both, but you also need trading psychology. Reading Think and Grow Rich is not going to help you on the charts. Okay? And I think people get that confused, specific with trading psychology versus trading psychology, personal development, and personal development, because you need both. They go hand in hand. Personal development is going to develop you as a person, grow you, grow your mindset, grow your beliefs, grow your belief systems around money, will help you manage success and the wealth you're attracting into your life. That personal development, of course you need, right? But you also need trading psychology, personal development, which is specific to trading and being in a trading environment. They're two different things. So that's your trading in the zone. That's your Mark Douglas, all of that stuff. So you need both. So I just wanted to touch on that. So SJ, I'm not sure where you want to lead with trading stuff next, but that was just my two cents, or maybe five.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Always nuggets. Mike's just stepped out for a sec. He'll be back. But if you guys have, I know Jess, there she is there. Do you want to shoot through your question to determine weekly bias? Okay, cool. If anyone has any trading specific questions, please dump them in the chat right now. We're going to go over a lot of terminology as well, because I know a few of you have been like a little bit confused with that side of things, and that's okay. We will, if anyone wants to play this in the most, okay, thank you, Stephanie. So yeah, Mark will be back in a sec, but
I'm here. I'm sorry.
oh, here's the man. Okay, so we have a question for you from Jess. It is in the chat. So we're going to go over a quick bit of charting stuff. We do appreciate your time, guys. I know it's been an hour, but you know it's worth the time. Trust me. This investment you're putting in for time is worth it. So yeah, do you want me to read it out to you, or you've got it?
Yeah, I got it right here. So to determine the bias in the higher time frames, weekly and daily, we can be in a bearish market structure, but the daily candle is bullish. So should I look for buy or sells? Where's my phone playing? Okay. When you're looking at higher, when you're looking at the higher time frame, to me, when you're looking at the candle that is printing, because you're saying it at a bearish market structure, but the daily candle that is currently printing, it's not done. So if I'm understanding the question, the candle that is printing, let's say on the day, and in context of your question, the market is moving down, but the daily candle is moving up. Depends on what time of the day. I have no idea when the market open. When does the market open and close there for you?
She's in the Netherlands, so GMT time.
What time is that? So I can answer it a little bit better. Because the market closes at and opens at 4 p.m. my time. Okay, so it opens at 12 a.m. So if it's 11 a.m. or 10 a.m., then you can take it into higher consideration. But if it's like, I guess you're 3 p.m. Wait, 12 a.m. 12 a.m. is the evening, or is it hold on, I'm tripping. Is that the afternoon time, or is that midnight? That's afternoon, right? Just to be clear, I think it's
midnight.
Okay. No, it's midnight. Okay, so I'm sorry. If it's 11 p.m. or if it's 10 p.m., then it can be considered, to obviously be looking for the trend move. So if in context of your question, sorry, it's just was gathering the question here, but if the market is bearish and the daily candle is bullish, then looking on the lower time frames for the sell could definitely be there. But if it's 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m., and the daily candle that you're looking at is only a few hours old, then I would not be looking, specifically for buys or sells based off of the higher time frame because of that, if that makes sense, because it's so young. The candle is so young that, yeah, it could look extremely bearish for the first, 5 hours of London, but then New York completely turns it around. And so that's all I was saying, was that don't articulate the daily candles or the higher time frames for lower time frame entry trades based off of a very young candle. Obviously, daily candles are 24 hours per one, obviously. So the older that daily candle is more of when that can be justified of going with that trend and looking for it down, or as opposed to, potentially looking for the retracement up. Maybe if the candle is young, that is the retracement for it in that, in that bearish move down, and that is the move that is happening. But that is obviously circumstantial in the time. So time is relevant to that question in regards to for your time zone. 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m., 5 a.m., 6 a.m., 7 a.m., those very early hours do not gauge that candle. There's a golden rule that I have with entries, and I usually am looking for entries within the last 10 minutes or the first 10 minutes of an hour, as opposed to, 30 minutes into that hour or 25 minutes into the hour, because I'm sure you guys have seen it before. Have you ever seen a really, really bullish candle, but then by the time it closes, it's 100% in the opposite direction? That's what I'm talking about, is that inherently the markets are designed to do that. They are trying to push people in the wrong direction on purpose. So don't fall victim to that, is what I'm trying to say. Hopefully that makes sense. And if not, I can do my best to at least clarify it a little bit better.
I have a question from someone who's not in my organization, but they want to know, how did you get into the whole institutional trading? Like, what made you go from retail stuff to then switch over and realize this, our way of trading is the way?
Losses. Really, it was, I guess it was kind of in the answer that I was just giving a second ago as well, or just one thing that I touched on. The markets operate in a very specific way. And the thing about that is that you have to recognize that the market is not designed inherently to pay people. And so the typical education that is out there, this is the realization that I had to, to answer your question. That was what I finally realized, and then started shifting towards what isn't being talked about. Where is the other answer at? Because if they are perpetuating a certain perception of the market and they want you to look at it a certain way, it's the same thing that I do in like pretty much every other aspect of life, of observing the masses and doing the opposite. So when the masses are calling out the buy, more than likely the sell is coming, or at least a very initial quick move down for the actual buying position to happen, as opposed to what we have been taught to look for. So losses from that ideology of, hey, this is exactly what I was taught, support and resistance, to keep it simple, and I'm going to look for that buy off of that little support right there. That has made me lose too many times, been smacked in the face too many times, to have then now realized there has to be a better answer. And so, again, observing the masses and doing the opposite, and then again, truly understanding that the market is not designed to pay people and to take money away from people. So there had to have been something different. There's a different answer somewhere, and it's not typically discussed or talked about. And that's where the desire, the push for that came from, was understanding why they move the market as opposed to what we have been taught moves the market.
Cool, cool. I have a question for you. What would you tell someone who is wanting to trade live without really, they're just refusing, or not, I'm not going to say they're refusing, but this is a hypothetical question. Joe. If someone is wanting to live trade and they really have no fucking idea what they're doing, basically.
Definitely not.
It makes me wonder why is it that you want to trade live? What there should be, at least I would assume, a driving force as to why they feel pressured to trade live. And so, assuming that there is, for just a second, then whatever that issue, or whatever is, rent or car payment or whatever, I need this to work because of current circumstances. No. And then if there isn't a driving force, to look at it on the other side, is that if this person is like me, when I got started, it was just off of pure raw excitement, not necessarily a driving force, but just, I'm so excited that I want to start making money right now. The conversation for the individual needs to be, understand that you're stepping into essentially the Super Bowl of the financial world, but you have no idea how to play the game. But despite that, you're expecting success to happen. That is the epitome of what I turn that into. If there is somebody that has to go through that, then you potentially are a lot like me. How do we learn to not touch fire? You have to be burned. It's just a thing about people, all human beings, like, we learn through pain. So it might even describe a little bit as to the individual and their personal experiences with life in general, like how they learn is being thrown into the fire, so to speak, and then being burned and wearing the scars from that point. It's pretty rare to find an individual that hears and resonates with what another person's struggles or obstacles are, and then applying them and saying, nope, I don't want to do that. Learning from other people's mistakes, essentially, is a quality that, honestly, is a huge, huge benefit for anybody. But again, realistically speaking, most people have to go through the experience themselves in order to, obviously learn not to do it. If I were, because again, I've come into contact with a lot of people that obviously, go through that, and that they immediately want to make the live account. I again was the same. So personally, I just say, hey, I've been there and I've done it, and it cost me way more than, you know, uh, than way more than what you think it does. And not necessarily the long term, it's that lack of instant gratification that happens that then creates that bigger uphill battle that you have to get through to learn, oh wait, stop looking for instant gratification. So that kind of gets compounded with, the last hour of conversation that we've been having, of stop looking for instant gratification, because that's in fact the problem. So it's really just it's incumbent on the individual to understand what, trading is here. Do not think trading is about paying rent or paying bills, because that is absolutely not what trading is. And that's usually why people want to start trading live immediately, is because of bills or because of circumstances. That's when I will do my best to educate around that idea, obviously, because trading is about abundance, not about making month's end. That's ridiculous.
100%. There's a chat question from Just Glenn. Are people's psychological trading discipline different from person to person? I just combined all the worlds.
Are people's psychological trading discipline? I would say yes. I mean, discipline is discipline at the end of the day, but how people, um, I guess, go about it is definitely going to be subjective. I don't think that there is like an objective standard when it comes to people, individuals speaking person to person, as opposed to, I guess the objective standard of, there is simply just discipline that you need to do. Like risk management would be an objective thing. Everybody needs to be doing that, but that's not obviously what you're saying. Psychological trading discipline is removing emotions and, your mind discipline, essentially. So yeah, it would differ. I think it would differ from person to person. A lot of people need certain things to happen, and I guess essentially try to force these things to happen, which is of course the problem. But then you can look at another person that isn't even about that at all. So that by definition, then their psychological trading discipline would be different for this person as it would be for that person. So yeah, it would definitely be different. I don't think that there's just a blanket answer for everybody, except for, again, objective things like risk management, number management. Everybody needs that. But psychologically, no. I think it's absolutely unique to the individual.
Amazing.
Can I just touch on that as well? Because I just want to follow on from what Mike is saying. For me personally, with I 100% agree with what you're saying. It's going to be different to every individual. And something that I believe, just from obviously learning about the trading psychology and whatnot, is that I don't believe trading psychology is ever quote unquote mastered. I believe you're always going to be a work in progress, because we are human beings at the end of the day. We are designed to feel. We are designed to have emotion, right? It's all about being aware of those emotions and having a plan to control them. And if you don't have a plan to control them, don't trade. You know what I mean? It's simply just about being aware of the emotions that are coming and having a plan in place, whether it's by habit now, because obviously controlling your mind takes everyday work to become habit, or whether you have a plan in place written down when these feelings arise, what you do, whether it's go meditate, whether you go for a walk, things like that, then come back to the charts. Or if you know that you're at a certain level of emotion that you cannot trade, and be in an abundant mindset and withdraw from those distractions, then you don't trade. I don't believe there is such a thing as a master in trading psychology. I believe there's always new levels, and it's just about being aware of your emotions and what works for you. Because what works for you might not work for Mike. What works for Mike might not work for SJ, but they're all the same thing. Like everything each person and each individual does is for the same goal, to be a disciplined trader.
Yep.
So I just wanted to add to that.
And and here's the easy answer for that. Well, not that, but specifically an issue, or maybe why that question was asked. Number management rules out you in the equation. If you fail to meet the numbers due to the emotions, then that's a different conversation. But the reason why number management is so important is because it removes you. Math is going to do all of the heavy lifting for you, meaning if you are in distraught or whatever's going on in your life, just like what Jenna was saying, we are designed to feel. So how do you beat that? Well, first, you do not conquer your emotions, because again, we are designed to feel. It's inherent to human beings. But the safeguard that you can set in place, and this is again that objective thing that I'm talking about, is that the numbers can blanket statement protect everybody if they, of course, adhere to that and follow along with what it is that their plan says. Because then it's not about, well, how do I feel about this, or should I take profit now, or should I close out half the position, any of it, because then it removes all of those questions or scenarios, or what should I do now, or what should my lot size be. And then all of this ends up becoming about how you feel specifically in that moment, or your confidence in that specific trade. If it's extremely confident or not very confident at all, will obviously dictate what happens to your results. Your lot size, your stop, your take profit, those things will obviously be adjusted based off of how you feel in the moment. So again, if you allow the numbers to do the heavy lifting for you, then all of it becomes irrelevant, except for the fact you got to make sure that you're obviously using those numbers. So emotions can still come into play if you fail to do that. But if you obviously can really, really maintain the idea of the safeguard between you and the charts of numbers, or your account, between your account and the markets, then it doesn't matter necessarily how you are feeling in that moment, because again, the numbers are doing all of it for you. And that's usually my answer to that as well, is because people ask me, how do you overcome emotion? That is a crazy question. That's like, hey, how do we live without breathing oxygen, is kind of what that feels like to me. It's naive to think that you are absolutely 100% of the time going to be able to control yourself. Like, it's unrealistic. So again, just by implementing that discipline of numbers will safeguard you and protect what's most important, your account, when it comes to trading.
Amazing. Now, I don't think anyone has any other questions, and we've been on for an hour 20, so this has been amazing. I have recorded, so I will send that out too, for those if you want this recording. On the whole topic of market psychology, trading psychology, Jenna and I have got a call on that specifically as well. So if you want that link, please just message one of us and we will get that to you. But Mike, you are amazing as always. Thank you so much for your time, guys. It's like what, 6 a.m. you got up to do this call. So
yeah.
Once again, every Tuesday we appreciate you so much. Jenna, thank you also for your nugget.
Yes.
As always, Jenna has her calls Monday and Thursday nights as well, for the Trade House gang. So thank you all so much for getting on tonight's call. Really appreciate you guys. If you 6 a.m. for Mike. So next Tuesday, bring the questions, guys. We want to get into more trading stuff as well. Have a dig at those questions in terms of the money mindset and start really making those shifts for yourself. I promise you, when you do that and you get real with where you're at, it's just going to change for you. It'll just change. If you want any help with that personally, I'm more than more than happy to help you. But yeah, Mike, you can go to bed now.
No, I'll probably be up for a little bit more.
Sounds good. Well, thank you. It's always a pleasure.
Yes, and hey guys, remember the questions and things like that. This is for you guys. So utilize these. you know, to the fullest extent. Bring what you feel is stopping you. Why are you not seeing whatever you want to see? And that's exactly what we need to be talking about. And not just on next Tuesday call, but Jenna's calls, SJ's calls, Zach's calls. That's the point of this. So don't feel obligated to be here. Feel excited to be able to, you know, have that dialogue with us, because that's exactly why we're here. But I appreciate your guys' time more than you know. Thank you.
So Mike is live 2 p.m. every day. Zach McDonald, who is another Trade House guy, Trade House Ledge, 7:30 a.m. 7 a.m. 7:30. 7 a.m. And Jenna is got her private calls Monday and Thursday night. So we have an abundance of calls for you guys. We want to make sure that you're getting everything that you need and you feel supported in learning this amazing skill set. So thank you so much, everyone. And next Tuesday night, if you would like to jump back on, just let me know, okay? Thank you. Bye, Mike. Thank you, Jenna.
Bye. Love you guys.